Hello, everybody. I'm Skip Elsheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime Streaming Show, where we watch old 16mm films. And yesterday I was quarantined in my bedroom. Today I'm out in the living room, but I'm still being precautious. But it feels so much better. Holy cow. It's amazing. I just took it easy yesterday and just sat in bed most of the day, watched old episodes of Kolchak, The Night Stalker, just had a break. So thank you so much for all your well-wishing in the comments. It feels really good, and you should know that your comments do mean something to me, both the positives and the negatives, and I try to read them and address them when I can. But thank you so much. So today, more stuff from the National Archives. I've been working with a stock footage researcher friend of mine who's also a collector, and we have been he's been pulling a bunch of stuff for various projects he's been working on, and he's been sending me the files, and they're amazing. So this next one is whacked out. This I mean, the narrator sounds so much like Rod Serling. I don't think it is Rod Serling, but it is Rod Serling-esque. Here is, and I don't know the name of it. I'm just calling it Falling. So here it is, Falling. Enjoy.
I know you've felt it. Most everybody has. That chaotic, sickening, uncontrollable, utterly helpless feeling of falling. You probably dreamt it as a child. The falling dream.
You always wake up before you hit, because if you didn't...
And perhaps you've known that feeling of falling in reality as well. A dark basement. A dimly lighted stair. An outside stairway. A step, wet with rain. A slick, wet floor in the bathroom, and no place to hold. A storm door with a glass inset. A teenager in too big a hurry. Every year in the United States, more than 1/3 people go to the hospital with injuries from falls. On simple stairways, in ordinary bathrooms, through glass doors. In most cases, they suffer needlessly. They didn't have to take that tumble that brought on that feeling of falling.
I'm flying high, but I've got a feeling I'm falling, falling for nobody else but you. You caught my eye, and I've got a feeling I'm falling. Show me the ring and I'll jump right through. Hey, Mr. Parson, stand by, for I've got a feeling I'm falling, falling for nobody else but you.
Picture of a senseless accident about to happen. A dim basement stair, a missing handrail, and a patterned carpet that can confuse the eye. Hey, look out! Wait a minute. Let's go back. That dangerous fall didn't have to happen. If the victim had done something about that dark stairway and put light switches at both the top and bottom of the stairs, installed a handrail, used solid colored carpets instead of that confusing pattern design, safety around the household is really as easy as that. Yet some people don't seem to understand. For example, a sack that impairs the vision. A wet spot on the stair ahead. Hey, watch out! Another fall. Another tragedy. But let's go back. Because it didn't have to happen either. A simple precaution like improving traction on the stair surface by adding a skid-resistant substance to the paint. Safety around the house isn't really difficult, but you have to think about hazards in advance. Things like a slick floor in the bathroom, no grab bar. Hey, be careful. No, that didn't have to happen either. Come back. An inexpensive grab bar on the wall. A clean, dry floor. Thinking ahead about hazards around the house pays off, just as ignoring them can hurt. Badly. A glass inset in a storm door, and a teenager in too big a hurry. Hey, slow down. But if we had to do it over again, we'd surely do it differently. With safety glazing in the storm door. Isn't it better that way? The feeling of falling is bad enough when it's only a nightmare. When you get it in reality, you can be badly injured, crippled, or handicapped for life. 1/3 of a million people are in the U.S. every year. What's a little time or money or thought if it can help you prevent accidents around the home? Write the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission for information on preventing accidents like these. Do it. You don't have to have that feeling of falling.
Hey, Mr. Parson, stand by, for I've got a feeling I'm falling, falling for nobody else but you.
Wow. Yeah, that reminds me of another film I'm gonna have to pull out. In the meantime, let's look at this debate about big or versus small cars. Supposedly, the National Transportation Board was looking at the viability of smaller cars in a world that is surrounded by bigger cars. Enjoy.
The automobile is the dominant form of transportation in the United States, and it will continue to be so. It not only provides us the most flexible form of mobility, it has become an integral part of the American economy. But there is no denying the problems brought by the car, and that's where the Department of Transportation comes in, to help improve the benefits of the car while reducing its social costs. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has set out to help make autos safer by establishing standards for all new cars. Now added to this is the task of improving fuel economy. These goals, safety and energy efficiency, must be balanced with the conflicting goals of environmental protection and economy, all jointly referred to as the S3E concept. The program pursuing these goals is the Research Safety Vehicle, a four-stage program to design, build, and test safety features that could be included in cars by the mid-1980s. By 1985, the large car of the early 70s will seem as outdated as the Model T, as the percentage of small cars continues to grow. But this trend carries with it increased danger for drivers and passengers because of the large vehicles that will still be on the road. The RSV program, therefore, has locked onto the small car as the size for which research can provide the greatest payoff. Two firms have been chosen to design and fabricate economical cars weighing 3,000 pounds or less, capable of attaining at least 30 miles per gallon, while meeting high environmental standards, and finally, able to prevent fatalities in crashes up to 50 miles per hour. The two firms present radically different approaches to the development of an RSV. Calspan is employing a more conservative evolutionary method, basing its RSV on a new production car, a Simca 1308, a front-engine, front-wheel drive car manufactured in Europe. The basic goal is to devise safety features that can be readily adapted to current design and production line assembly. The first step was testing the production model to determine its capabilities and its weaknesses, and to provide a database for analysis. The car was tested for acceleration, handling, braking, fuel economy, and crash protection. It was found to have some very good safety characteristics, but was considered only average for crashworthiness in tests that included a front-to-side crash, a front-to-rear crash, a front-to-front offset crash, and a side-swipe crash. Following these tests, a new front, fitted on a baseline car, was designed to provide zero-damage protection in crashes up to 7 miles per hour. Composed of urethane foam, the front is intended to be non-aggressive, minimizing damage to other cars and injury to pedestrians. In a basic move to improve occupant safety in crashes, Calspan installed a passive air belt restraint system for the driver and front seat passenger. In a high-speed crash, a chamber along the automatically affixed belt is inflated to cushion the chest load. Conversion of the Simca 1308 includes virtually every aspect of the vehicle. New features were designed and molded, and the parts pressed from sheet metal, ready to be attached to the Simca body. Specific safety features that are being built into this RSV include extending the front section with improved energy-absorbing structures, strengthening of the sill to provide extra protection, strengthening of the pillars inside and out, and strengthening and padding of the door, all helping to provide protection in side impacts up to 40 miles per hour. Safety with style and with features applicable to mass-produced cars in the near future has been the goal for Calspan, permitting a thorough assessment of weight and cost of the S3E features. The approach of minicars has been radically different from that of Calspan. This car is new from the ground up. Its purpose is to provide uniquely innovative features to test their effectiveness and practicality for full production cars. The weight of the car is around 2,000 pounds. The rear wheels are driven by a transverse-mounted Honda stratified charge engine. Its basic structure is pressed, light-gauge sheet metal filled with poured, rigid polyurethane foam, which provides a very strong, very light body with energy absorption features and permits very simple fabrication techniques. The non-aggressive front section provides three-stage energy absorption. The 9-inch thick front bumper of polyurethane foam absorbs crashes up to 10 miles per hour without damage, and a 15-inch replaceable section behind that absorbs crashes up to 20 miles per hour. Occupants are safely protected in frontal crashes up to 50 miles per hour by the energy-absorbing structure, and front seat occupants are further protected by airbags that feature separate chambers for head and torso. The front end safety features are all concealed by a soft, resilient plastic body glove designed to resist scuffing and minor dents and to minimize danger to pedestrians and other vehicles. Inside, the car offers other novel features. Front seat backs are suspended by a transparent vinyl headrest. Airbags in the dashboard for the front seat passenger and on the steering wheel for the driver make minimal demands for space. And even in cramped spaces, the wide gull-wing doors permit ease of entry and exit for both front and rear seat passengers. The minicar's RSV also includes advanced electronic features like improved skid-sensing anti-lock brakes and computerized radar to warn the driver of impending hazards and provide advanced cruise control. A prototype car has been extensively tested by minicars for handling, braking, and stability. Further testing and evaluation of both the Calspan and the minicar's RSVs will be conducted independently by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. At about the midway point, the RSV program looks more important than ever. The trend to smaller cars will undoubtedly continue. The RSV program will show how these cars can be made safe practicably. The major objective of the program is to provide a sound technical database for future cost-effective safety standards and for voluntary adoption of safety features by the auto industry throughout the world. There is a need to relate the four basic considerations: safety, economy, environment, and energy in vehicle design. The RSV provides design concepts balancing these major considerations, but it is not the final answer. It is the forerunner in the international effort to develop a comprehensive approach for designing automobiles that are efficient, clean, economical, and safe.
That's pretty good. Some cars crashing, but I didn't mention before that first film that I showed of the crash tests, the Fiat versus the AMF. Man, there's no way I would drive either one of those cars. those looked really sketchy. All right, so here's the film I was talking about that has a lot of people falling down that my sister and I once watched when she visited me, and we were in hysterics. Enjoy.
One of the most common causes of injuries in work situations is falling. Falls are second only to auto accidents in number of fatalities. People seem to have the idea that after a fall, they'll be able to get up and walk away. It doesn't work that way. Falls can bring the lifelong miseries and limitations of a chronic bad back, or the daily discomfort and insecurity of a trick knee, or the end of wage-earning days. When a person slips, the feet simply slide out from under it. Often, as a result, the unsupported body comes crashing down. Feet can skid easily and unexpectedly in any direction. on many kinds of slimy, oily, or greasy materials that can change a good surface into a dangerous one. A very small spot can do the damage. Even if there's no actual fall, a badly wrenched back may be the result. Sometimes the feet go out from under the body because a surface moves out from under them. Balance is a critical factor in falls. Just moving from one place to another at work always involves the possibility of tripping or stumbling over an object, large or small. Carrying something can greatly increase the risk of falling. A new balance factor is added.
Whoa, I don't know exactly what happened there. I apologize. I think that file was illegally truncated, which meant that everything freaked out at the one moment. I'll see if I can find a better copy of it, but in the meantime, I'm sorry about that. Let's watch Dick Van Dyke talk about seatbelts. Enjoy.
Ed? Come on, we better go.
Every year, more than 50,000 people die in auto accidents. 50,000. Many of them might have lived if their bodies had been shielded from impacting the inside of their own cars. The Department of Transportation, as far back as 1968, became convinced that to reduce this death toll, all cars must eventually be equipped with passive restraint systems. They're called passive because they're part of the car, requiring no action on the part of the driver to hook them up or activate them. To date, 2 systems have been developed, tested, and are ready for installation. One is the passive belt system, if you don't mind seatbelt restriction. The other is the passive airbag.
Some of the best ideas in life are simple. This one is called a passive safety belt. It's attached to the door frame. When you step into your car and close the door, you're automatically buckled up. You and your front seat passenger are both protected. Really very simple.
Yes, dear.
In 100,000 cars on the road already, they have proven to be 3 times safer than the same car with standard belts. When all cars have passive restraints, we can save 9,000 lives a year.
The airbag passive restraint system is the result of space-age technology and 2 decades of research and testing.
While the car is being driven, the air cushion system constantly reports its operational reliability. Each time you turn on the ignition, an air cushion light in the instrument panel glows brightly for several seconds and then fades out. And while this is happening, the diagnostic circuit within the system is checking the entire electrical network including the lamp itself. This light reports that your air cushion system is fully operational if called upon to save your life. The airbags are hidden in the steering wheel and under the deck. You'd never know they were there until you need them. The system is activated by a velocity sensor, similar to those that control missiles in outer space.
The system is designed to withstand the roughest roads, bumps, panic stops, even driving the car off a ramp.
When it inflates, it's only up there for that long, and then it's deflated. It inflates and deflates automatically. It inflates, catches you in an emergency, and then deflates. And it amazes me how that sensor in the front of that car, it's out ahead of you, but it can pick up the impact of the wreck, transmit it back to that unit in the steering wheel or in the passenger side, come out, catch you, before your brain can even register it. You know, it's amazing how that thing works.
Movie director and stuntman Hal Needham and actress Miss Leda Edmond Jr. were the first human volunteers involved in airbag crash tests. They were interviewed in Mr. Needham's Hollywood office.
Just so people don't get the wrong idea, Leda and I are not getting paid to do this. This is not a commercial. Nobody's giving us a quarter. We want to be a part of the education program that this country should know about in regards to the airbag. My background as a stuntman, I have to have knowledge of wrecks and impacts and what that's all about, plus the fact that I had tested the airbag. I mean, in 3 or 4 different occasions, I knew exactly what it was all about.
So I remember we went there, and there was a big long room and a movie screen, and I proceeded to watch what we were going to do, or what the dummies were going to do. And I sat there, and I saw a steering wheel go through this dummy's body. Through it. Could have been a human body. And I thought, well, that's slow motion. What were they doing? 200 miles an hour? And then you said no. And I thought, well, this is what we're going to do? And I wanted to go to the nearest exit until I saw the airbag work. And that's all there is to say about it.
We took the car into the wall at 24.9 miles an hour, something like that, right at 25 miles an hour. And people say, well, that's not all that fast. But we took it into a solid barrier that did not give 1/4 of an inch. So the only thing that gave was the front of that car. I think we shortened the car by about 28 inches or 30 inches, something like that.
It's coming up. And I said, what am I doing here? And before I could get frightened, you know, naturally, you see, you're going fast. Before I could get frightened, it was over. I've never been in such a situation where I actually saw something work like that firsthand.
If everybody could go through it, then there'd be no doubt in their mind as to what they should do. I mean, you know, they'd know immediately that, yes, I should really have one of those in my car. How many people wear their seatbelt? I mean, I know there are some numbers and figures on it, and I don't know what they are off the top of my head. But I know I don't wear a seatbelt, and I know what a seatbelt will do for you. The passive restraint system, it's there. You don't have to hook it up. If you're in a hurry, whatever it is, you just jump in your car, it's there. It's already in. And it's hooked up, and it's ready.
Stuntmen do not take chances. They rely on the very best safety equipment available. Hal Needham wrote and directed Smokey and the Bandit and Smokey and the Bandit 2. In one chase sequence, an Oldsmobile marked as a Georgia State Patrol car sideswiped a Pontiac. The Oldsmobile was equipped with airbags. Fortunately, neither stunt driver was hurt. The only damage to the Olds was a dented front fender. Hal discussed the incident with me right after it happened.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Jack, but what we really did was, by hitting this car on an angle with the wheels turned, that car didn't absorb enough shock.
Enough energy, yeah.
Enough energy to set off the airbag.
Yeah.
So consequently, we took him over a 40, 50-foot area here, and
he just rode down the track.
Yeah. and he hit the soft part of the car here and just tore the door all up, but that's amazing. I really wanted to see the airbag inflate, but I've learned something from it that if you don't have the impact at 12, 15 miles an hour, it's not going to go off, which is really kind of nice.
Well, it kind of proves the confidence level, you know, that it's not supposed to fire. And it didn't. For 4 years, following its use in Smokey and the Bandit, this car was parked, unused, in an outdoor lot in Wheeling, Illinois. It was exposed to temperature variables ranging from 110 degrees to 19 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit. It survived 4 of the worst winters in Chicago history, including the blizzard of '79. Yet, with only its dead battery replaced, the diagnostic circuitry signaled that the airbag was functional when the car was started. For final proof that the airbags would still function, we shipped this same Olds to Dynamic Science Incorporated near Phoenix, Arizona.
T-minus 4 minutes and counting.
As in other crash tests, technicians equipped the lifelike mannequins and the car itself with validating instruments to monitor the effects of the crash on the car and its potential human occupants. The car was then towed into the barrier at 23 miles per hour. Let's look at that again in slow motion. And again. Notice that the velocity sensors respond so fast that the airbags are open even before the hood of the car buckles. This is something you couldn't see in real-time photography.
Please stand clear of the vehicle for post-test calibration.
And look at the damage to this car. A fender bender didn't deploy the airbags in Smokey and the Bandit because the impact wasn't severe enough to cause human injury. This time the car was totaled. Yet test results showed that human occupants would have survived without injury. After a sideswipe in Smokey and the Bandit, after 4 years of disuse, after external exposure to heat and cold, the reliable airbag still performs as designed and when needed.
Look out! That's Vic Rivers! Here's Victor Wireless in Pennsylvania.
My name is Vic Rivers. I drove this car into a concrete wall with the force of a 60-mile-an-hour car-to-car crash. I did the crash foreseen in the new 20th Century Fox film, Moving Violation. But I refused to do it until I knew the car was equipped with airbags. Here, look again. I had a lap belt on, but I don't think it would have been enough. The airbag really did the job. Now from the inside, I get ready, I brace, poof! It's like falling into a big marshmallow. The sooner airbags are in all cars, the better.
The final testimonial to airbag reliability lies with drivers of all ages in on-the-road experience.
When I was back in Washington testifying for the Department of Transportation, I met about half a dozen of these people that had had accidents. Their lives were really saved on the highways in everyday life. Boy, you should have heard them testify for the airbag.
A doctor whose car collided with a bus at 35 miles per hour.
As a doctor, I feel quite certain that the airbags prevented me from having severe lacerations on my face and possibly chest from flying glass. The airbags had certainly done something that I had never realized was possible with any piece of safety equipment.
A young driver who lost control of his car and struck a tree at 30 miles per hour.
But it was just fantastic that I survived that, because I hit the tree right in line with my left headlights, and it shoved the whole steering column back about a foot right into my stomach. Everyone says, and I completely agree, that if I would have had the airbags, it would have killed me instantly. My body would have gone sailing through the windshield.
A nurse survived an intersection crash at between 35 and 37 miles per hour.
I'm a registered nurse, and I have seen injuries as a result of accidents, and some of them were pretty bad. After the accident and the airbags were out, I said to myself, you know, my God, if these airbags hadn't been here, we all would have gone through the windshield. I just think that if it had not been for those airbags, you know, I hate to even think what would have happened.
And Mrs. Daniels, whose tornado struck a truck at 46 miles per hour. Her grandchildren were in the front seat, unrestrained, one seated on the armrest.
I just recall it being like a big soft pillow, and I'm holding the wheel, of course, and the airbag opens, and then it goes all along the front of the car. I saw what we had hit, and it was a miracle to me that we were all able to get out of the car and walk over to the side of the road.
Light as they were and unrestrained, the children would surely have been killed without the airbag, and the slight injuries they did receive could have been prevented had proper child restraints been in use. Dr. Solomon survived a single car accident that involved 5 collisions ending with an 18-mile-per-hour crash into a tree.
As far as I'm concerned, I think that every vehicle that's purchased in the United States should have an airbag as part of their ordinary equipment. I don't feel that I'd be here today if I hadn't had this device in my car.
No airbag-equipped vehicle has been manufactured in the United States since model years 1974, 75, and 76. And then airbags appeared only in luxury automobiles as optional equipment. Why were they only optional? Why were they only in luxury automobiles? Why were they not properly advertised? And why were they discontinued? Brakes aren't optional. Safety headrests aren't optional. Safety windshields aren't optional. None of the vital safety features on American-made automobiles are optional. So why should passive restraint airbags be a luxury option that adds hundreds of dollars to the price of your family car? When mass-produced as standard equipment on all cars, airbags should cost no more than an automobile's vanity options. But they won't be mass-produced unless the public demands them. Ralph Nader appeared on the Donahue Show.
You want to stop all people from being injured by greed or by unthinking manufacturers or by unsafe products of anything. You want to save lives. Terrific. We believe you. It is also my sense that the number one thing in your life right now that you feel could probably save more lives than any other single thing ever invented in the history of man. If this is hyperbole, let me know. The airbag. You believe that?
Well, certainly it's the most important safety system ever to be put in automobiles, if we can ever get it into automobiles. I mean, 22 million crashes a year of varying severity, and to keep people from going through windshields into steel and hard plastic should be a major cause of all Americans.
I feel that a lot of these regulations we're placing on the American companies are absolutely crippling them in the foreign market, and I think they are, especially the auto industry. We are not able to compete with our foreign competitors.
Well, first, all the import cars have to meet the same standards that
Safety
the American
features,
cars.
seat
Right
belts,
across the board.
everything.
Japanese and Germans, all of them have to meet the same standard. Secondly, in the area of crash protection, when you hit against that tree or another car, the small Japanese cars, like Honda, Toyota, Datsun, are more dangerous than the comparable small U.S. cars. But you know, and you know that I have been trying to get General Motors and others to highlight that, and they won't inform the American people of that, because they figure that'll get the Japanese dander up. They'll come in with airbags and safer cars, and pretty soon we'll be on the lower part of the totem pole.
During the last several years, there have been a lot of safety features added to automobiles. And with the cost of automobiles today, what do you feel is the cost of all the safety features now that have been added over the years?
What do you think?
I would say it's got to be close to $1,000.
It isn't. It isn't anywhere near that. The total cost of all the federal safety standards put in automobiles, including seat belts, shoulder harnesses, stronger door latches, padded dash panels, collapsible steering columns, is less than $300. If you added it up from year to year, it's the best bargain in the world. Tens of thousands of Americans are alive today, and hundreds of thousands have avoided injuries because of these simple safety features. We never get airbags in cars. It'd be even better.
Well, I wish that my car would have had airbags in it, because instead of me hitting the dashboard and bouncing around inside the car and breaking my neck, I would have hit the airbags and the accident wouldn't have put me in the position that I am now.
50,000 deaths and 2 million injuries. That's the toll on America's highways every year. In aviation terms, 50,000 deaths equals one major air disaster every single day of the year. You know that wouldn't be tolerated by an outraged public. Why then are we allowing the same carnage on our highways when traffic deaths and injuries can be reduced? We must convince Congress that every automobile must have as standard safety equipment the reliable air bag. For more information, write to the Automotive Occupant Protection Association, 2001 Jefferson Davis Highway, Arlington, Virginia. Zip code 22202.
That's why we've advocated that one of the greatest life-saving technologies been proven on the highway in over 1 billion miles of travel, the airbag. So that when you get into a situation, it instantly inflates and gets out of the way right away. And the people who have been saved by the airbag are, of course, their best witnesses.
If everybody could go through it, then there'd be no doubt in their mind as to what they should do. I mean, they'd know immediately that, yes, I should really have one of those in my car. They're always talking about saving lives. Well, damn, here's a way to do it, you know? So let's put some airbags in those cars.
I want an airbag in my car. I will not feel safe without one.
And I think that every vehicle that's purchased in the United States should have an airbag as part of their ordinary equipment. I don't feel I'd be here today if I hadn't had this device in my car.
If it had not been for those airbags, you know, I hate to even think what would have happened.
I will do all that I can. I will go anywhere. I will talk with anyone. I'll get down on my hands and knees and beg to please let us put airbags in our cars for our safety and for our children's safety.
Wow. That film had the early 80s trifecta. It had Hal Needham, who had his fingers in American pop culture in the late 70s, early 80s. It had Phil Donahue, who also had his finger in the pop culture. And then Ralph Nader. Holy cow. That had it all. Had a mild disco soundtrack. Some beautiful crash test footage. That footage of that plane smashing and then just in debris heading towards the camera. Holy cow. Beautiful, beautiful footage. And, you know, airbags, they definitely are saving lives. I mean, sorry, if you don't like Ralph Nader, he was right. Hal Needham, stuntman, amazing filmmaker. He was right. Okay, let's see, what do I got here? So tomorrow's Christmas, and so the deal is I'm going to not do it live, but I will have a Christmas show for you tomorrow. I'll just pre-record it tonight so that I can spend time with my wife, making waffles, watching the Kate Bush BBC holiday special on YouTube. That's our annual tradition. And maybe Hooked on Christmas. I think I have that record here somewhere. Anyways, let's get you in the mood. This is Christmas Through the Ages. Enjoy.
Christmas is a season of good cheer and glad tidings. Wherever people appreciate the significance of the Christ story, their joy and gratitude find expression through myths and legends as different as the people and the cultures from which they emerged. Blended out of biblical history, myth, legend, and of customs as old as the human race, here is the story of Christmas Through the Ages. Here from the classic past is a foreshadowing of the spirit of Christmas. The time is 2,000 years ago. The place, Rome. The day, December 17th of our calendar, the first day of the festival of Saturn, the oldest of the Italic gods. Good Romans, Senator Caius has lit the tapers before the image of Saturn to signal the beginning of the holiday. Now he is ready to give and receive presents and good wishes with which Romans honor one another in the spirit of Saturn.
This year, only a small gift from me. A box of sandalwood that I decorated with paints from Egypt.
Thank you, Cassia, my daughter. Thank you.
And this, Master, the coppersmith of Syria made for you.
Thank you, too, my faithful people. And when the ceremony at the temple is over, I shall return kindness with kindness and presents with presents.
And so, 2,000 years ago, the months of the winter solstice became a season of peace on earth, a time of goodwill in the Roman world. Tapers burning in front of the friendly idol signaled that during Saturn's week, all Romans were free and equal. In homes all over Rome, children were making clay dolls to commemorate Saturn's love for his human children. And wherever the Roman Empire spread, the festival of Saturn followed, merging with customs of other people, becoming a sort of Christmas long before Christ was born. Then, according to prophecy, one era comes to an end, and after the end, a new beginning in the birth of a child.
And they came into the house and saw the young child with Mary, his mother. And they fell down and worshipped him. And opening their treasures, they offered him gifts, gold, and frankincense, and myrrh.
The early Christians were too absorbed in the Lord's imminent return to be much concerned about the date of his birth. Their rites were religious and austere, and often grew out of the ancient customs of their homeland.
Jonas, blessed be the name of Jesus. Sit down. What brings you here this day, my son? My granddaughter's just gone to the well for water.
Well, I'll wait. I'd like to talk to you anyway.
What's troubling you? You look worried.
Well, Jonas, it's hard to be a Roman soldier and a Christian. Right now, the barracks are shaken with pagan celebrations.
Remember, Julius, you don't have to be afraid to be gay as long as you are true to the Lord. The pagans are burning lights in the streets because they fear the dark. You have found your light in the Star of Bethlehem.
But why are you burning tapers in your window? I know that you're a good Christian, Jonas, and I don't quite understand.
Why not? This is an old custom of my people, a good custom.
The ancient custom commemorated the return of light to Jehovah's temple, which the heathen invaders had thrown into darkness. Since then, the people of Galilee had celebrated the eve of the 25th day of the month of Kislev, which is our December, as the beginning of the Festival of Lights. As the gospel spread and gave new meaning to the Greek and Roman culture, so did these lights gain new significance. Christianity came to signify light to those who thirsted for faith, hope, and salvation. It was not until the 4th century that the Church of Rome identified December 25th with the birth of Christ. But once the date was officially set by Rome, devoted missionaries carried it along with the gospel beyond the borders of the known world. One by one, the fierce tribes of northern Germany were converted to Christianity, and some of their customs were assimilated into the new religion.
That was a great day, Gunther. In spite of the snow and the howling of wolves, it was a moving ceremony, Father. My people love the story of the manger, especially the little ones. Then they can all better understand why we observe Christmas.
But, Father, how am I to stop my people from celebrating Yule and worshiping the fir tree?
Don't worry, Gunther. To your people, the fir tree and the holly mean eternal life because they're always green. Yes, and Christ means eternal life, too. So let them bring in their fir tree. Let them decorate it. And then we'll all pray under it to the good Lord as the true giver of all abundance.
Listen, I think I hear them coming with the tree now.
From tent to tent, from one German tribe to another, the Yule tree and holly turned into the Christmas tree and the Christmas holly. But not all Germanic tribes had the same tradition. Those that settled in the British Isles celebrated the beginning of the new year late in December. Modron Night, Mother's Night they called it, and sacrificed to their gods under the mistletoe by the fire of the Yule log. By the time of Queen Elizabeth, the pre-Christian origins of many Christmas customs were forgotten. In this old inn, many a boar's head, many peacocks and pheasants were consumed by the light of the Yule log. And many a kiss exchanged under the mistletoe.
Oh, Randall, you really shouldn't.
Well, if you don't want to be kissed, you shouldn't stand under the mistletoe.
How do you like that? But you should see what the ladies are doing in the court. The Queen and the ladies are having a great time.
They are they? You know what my brother in the guard says? The Queen is dyeing her hair, and the ladies dance with masks on. Christmas, they call it. Pagan, that's what I call it.
That's right, Nathaniel. Pagan it is. Something's got to be done.
Yes, something ought to be done.
And something was done. The England of Elizabeth, the England of dancing and joyful court balls, soon fell under the sway of the Puritans. The Puritan legislature decreed,
This day, heretofore called the Feast of Nativity, is to be kept as a fast with solemn humiliation, calling to remembrance our sins and the sins of our forefathers. Business will be done, and the people will no longer observe this sinful so-called Christmas.
while the Puritan rule against Christmas officially lasted only 12 years in England, in the New World, the Puritans kept the ban on Christmas celebrations alive for many years. And thus the General Court of the colony of Massachusetts proclaimed in 1659,
Hear ye, hear ye, whosoever shall be found observing any such day as Christmas or the like, either by forbearing of labor, feasting, or in any other way as a festival, shall be fined 5 shillings. Hear ye, hear ye.
For some 200 years, the more extreme Puritans fought against Christmas as a religious holiday. By that time, however, most people had accepted it as a social as well as a church festival. Because of the close kinship to England in language and tradition, English Christmas customs continued to cross to the New World. Small wonder that even the German Christmas tree came to America by way of England. When the German Prince Albert married British Queen Victoria, he introduced the Christmas tree to the British court. The English people were quick to accept this colorful custom, and soon it spread to America. From England, immigrants also brought their carols with them. And as people from many lands came streaming to our shores in search of freedom, they brought with them their Christmas songs and their customs. songs and customs merged with our heritage and became part of the Christmas celebration as we know it today, so truly composed of gifts from many lands.
From ancient Rome, the custom of celebrating and giving presents. From Palestine, the story of the Nativity, the Christmas lights, and the time of the feast. From pagan Germany, the fir tree and the holly. From England, the bells and mistletoe, the Yule log, the Christmas pudding, and many carols. From somewhere near Constantinople came St. Nicholas, better known as Santa Claus.
From Holland, the Christmas stockings by the fireplace.
And from Northern Europe, the jingle bells and the reindeer.
And so, truly, our Christmas is a celebration of the brotherhood of man, growing out of his urge to see the light, to find peace in forgiving and receiving forgiveness. It is man's answer to his need for love. That is why Christmas is a living holiday.
So some of you doubt the accuracy of that film. That was an Encyclopedia Britannica film that was distributed to schools all over the United States in the 50s. And I just read news yesterday that Encyclopedia Britannica is becoming an AI company. They have all of this information, factual information, that they've been compiling for more than a century. And also have imagery and films that we help scan. And so, yeah, they're going to offer themselves up as an AI company. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. I mean, part of it is fascinating that Encyclopedia Britannica still existed. But then it's like, oh, look, we have all this information that we have vetted. It's not just from the internet in general. It's actually vetted information by folks, and we're going to offer this up. So there you go. Merry Christmas. Yeah, so tomorrow I'm not going to be live, but I am going to do a show, pre-recorded show, and I just wanted to say live, thank you so much for tuning in all this time, and thank you for your support. And I am feeling better today from the COVID. Still kind of sequestering myself a little bit, but let me say this, and this is going to get soppy real quick. At family gatherings this holiday, instead of thinking about presents, thinking about being present. What I mean by that is, like, acknowledge the loved ones and the family and the friends around you, and take some time to acknowledge those people. Tell them that you love them. Tell them what they meant to you. Because as I learned, I'm missing a father. And the reason why I feel good about our relationship is that I did take that time earlier in the year. And I did tell him those things. So that's a little soppy sentiment for you on the soapbox, but please know that I love you guys. I love your comments. I love you watching. I especially love it when you hit the thumbs up button or the subscribe button. Those are great ways to support us. How about that from a transition? But you can also support us via the super thanks button, ko-fi.com/avgeeks, patreon.com/avgeeks. Those are great ways to support us. But even just hitting those like buttons, or watching other films that we've been putting on the YouTube channel, because we have been uploading an inordinate amount of those things. That's been what I've been doing in a feverish COVID state is just upload, upload, upload. So those are things that you can watch. Everybody have a great day tomorrow. The theory is I'll be back on Thursday. I think that's going to be what we're going to do. We'll see what happens, but I'll have some sort of content for you. Maybe some more beautiful crash footage. But if I don't see you tomorrow, everybody have a great Christmas. We love you, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.